Hi guys, JT here, and today I'm bringing you some information on 10 games in Fanatical's Trinity Bundle of April 2023 to help you in picking your 7 games. There are also 2 extras in the end for those who are curious. If you would like to know more about game bundles, feel free to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel out. Anyway, let's get into this. At number 1 we have Super Indie Karts, a classic retro 90s style karting game featuring various characters, tracks, and power-ups. If you remember playing Super Mario Kart back on the SNES in the early 90s, the graphics of this game will bring back some memories, but with modern twists and high-quality pixel art. The music is also really catchy and upbeat, befitting the game's fun and lighthearted tone. This game also features challenging AI opponents and a huge variety of power-ups to murder your kart opponents with. You don't have to be super experienced in kart games, as this game is easy to pick up and can be enjoyable for players of all skill levels, even though it can be really challenging sometimes. The challenging AI can put some people off, especially newbies who might find the difficulty too challenging and frustrating. Although online multiplayer isn't a feature yet, you can compete with your friends and family via local multiplayer split screen, so you can drive around and murder each other with various power-ups. There are time trials, Grand Prix, split screen GP, quick race, and battle modes that you can play. Some characters and tracks available in this game come from crossovers with other indie games like Crosscode, Tesla Grad, Aegis Defenders, Guacamelee, with more to come. Currently there are 44 tracks for you to race on and over 30 characters to race as. Super Indie Karts is great if you enjoy classic arcade-style racing games. The game's retro aesthetic, catchy music, and challenging gameplay make it a fun and engaging experience, despite some complaints about difficulty and lack of online multiplayer. And number 2 we have Tokyo Xanadu EX Plus, a JRPG game. You take on the role of Ko Tokisaka, who resides in the fictional suburb of Morimiya City, a decade after a catastrophic earthquake caused by an entity from the netherworld known as the Eclipse. The Eclipse typically appears in the form of dungeons, each with a powerful enemy at the end. As Ko, you discover your ability to see and manifest a special weapon within the Eclipse, and unravel your classmate Asuka Hiragi's secret role in investigating the Eclipse. The game is divided into chapters, each focusing on a different character and contributing to the overarching story. During each chapter, you can explore the city, converse with the diverse NPCs, undertake quests, and enhance your rapport with allies through events. The game features a robust cast, with the wider city and its inhabitants contributing to the creation of a highly captivating setting. The EX Plus version introduces side chapters at the end of each original chapter, and a post-epilogue after story. The combat system is immensely enjoyable, and you can take a party of up to 3 characters into each dungeon. Changing characters is a vital aspect of combat. The active character has standard controls, including dodge, jump, standard attack, charged attack, ranged attack, and aerial attack. The dungeons are appropriately sized, offering brief bursts of action without becoming overwhelming. Overall, Tokyo Xanadu EX Plus offers an engaging story with compelling characters and a highly enchanting setting. And number 3 we have Spirit Hunter NG, the second volume in the Spirit Hunter series of horror adventure games, following on from Deathmark. You can play NG as a standalone game, so there's no need to have played Deathmark before. In NG, you play as Akira Kijima, who ends up taking care of his little sister Ami after she disappears following a strange incident. Akira's story involves various horrors and supernatural elements, with multiple endings to discover. The gameplay combines visual novel-like story segments, investigations, critical choices, and grid-based movement. NG also adds new mechanic, where you can touch certain objects to learn more about what happened in the past. You can choose your jump scare level too, depending on how much you can handle. The character designs and depiction of horror in ordinary places and locations are superb, with the soundtrack adding to the eerie atmosphere. While the voice acting is minimal, the game still manages to impress with its gameplay additions and story pacing. Overall, if you're a fan of visual novels and horror games, Spirit Hunter NG is a must-play. It's one of the better horror games out there and offers a horror experience that's more than just jump scares. And number 4 we have Autonauts vs Piratebots, an automation game that allows you to optimize a production line while defending against the attacking pirate bots. The gameplay is done through programming bots to do the harvesting themselves, and this is mostly done by having the robots copy your actions, although block programming is also available. However, once the game gets going and allows you to start automating your robots, issues start appearing as you run into problems with the production line, requiring further optimization and problem solving. The main problem with this is that it subtracts from the difficulty while still requiring time, since resource gathering is a relatively tedious process even when automated. The game's combat side takes place in pitting your troops against the pirate bots, fought with a simple RTS system, where players may group their troops under squads with different objectives based on their programming, letting them run amok after that. The game becomes a repetitive loop of producing faster, upgrading defenses, and producing more troops. Although the game definitely triggers the same response as other automation games, wanting better and more efficient production lines, the Piratebot spin doesn't make it stand out from its predecessor. In conclusion, Autonauts vs Piratebots is a simple and relatively enjoyable automation game with some pacing issues at the start and middle points. If you're new to the genre, you might find it accessible. Those with an interest in programming will also be able to find their sea legs. And number 5 we have Intravenous, a modern stealth game with classic graphics and gameplay that harkens back to the days of challenging retro games. In the game, you play the role of an avenging sibling out to bring down drug dealers, and the story is conveyed through text-based dialogue and retro cutscenes. While the graphics have a retro feel, the gameplay has modern sensibilities, with a more Souls-like challenge level that is still enjoyable for players who prefer easier difficulties. Players have options to create distractions using their microphone, with a level of detail rarely seen in modern games. You need to deal with light, movement speed, and gear to maintain stealth, and the act of reloading your weapon can even draw attention. Dropping a body can alert guards who will make an effort to look for you. Intravenous is an elaborate stealth system that even accounts for players being seen beyond the screen's coverage, so you need to be prepared to deal with patrols and escape routes. If you fail, you can go guns blazing, but the game will become even more challenging. Guards will swarm you fast, and it will be harder to stay alive. The game is well crafted, with a great attention to detail that makes it a unique and fun experience for fans of classic gaming and stealth mechanics. And number 6 we have Pocket Cars, a unique and exciting racing experience that makes it stand out from other arcade racing games. The game offers a variety of challenges, requiring you to upgrade your driving skills, use weapons wisely, and avoid traps. This makes each race a strategic and thrilling experience. With the ability to equip 2 weapons, you can choose your strategy before the race, giving you an advantage over your opponents. The game's features are impressive, with 5 different environments, 30 tracks, and 12 physics-simulated cars, each with 7 different tire options. The game also has 12 unique weapons, including rockets, mines, and EMPs, allowing you to take down your opponents in creative ways. Additionally, the game has a customizable car feature, allowing you to personalize your cars to your liking. Pocket Cars offers both 4-player split screen and 8-player online multiplayer modes, making it accessible to a wider range of players. The multiplayer modes provide an excellent addition to the game's replay value, allowing you to compete against each other in a variety of races. The graphics and soundtrack of the game are impressive, with the RC cars looking realistic, and the environments are well designed, providing a great backdrop for the races. The soundtrack is also fitting for the game, enhancing the overall experience. In conclusion, Pocket Cars is an excellent arcade combat racing game that offers a unique racing experience with its fast-paced gameplay, realistic-looking RC cars, and different weapons. And number 7 we have Painkiller Black Edition, a first-person shooter game. You play as Daniel, a tough-as-nails hero who must kill the 4 generals of hell to be reunited with his girlfriend in heaven. The game takes place over almost 30 levels, with a variety of exotic locations such as prisons, opera houses, and ancient chapels floating in a serene void. The gameplay is an arena shooter at its core, where tripping a checkpoint steals the path behind you and starts spawning waves of demon samurais and cannibal clowns to murder you. But fear not, as you're armed with one of the more creative and versatile arsenals in FPS history, consisting of 5 weapons that can splatter, skewer, or scorch your foes. The grand levels with their soaring architecture are still mainly just rooms for enemies to gang up on you in, with few actual gimmicks to break them up. However, levels hide plenty of secrets, some requiring extensive searching or acrobatic feats to find, and gold is your reward for most of these discoveries, which is used to equip cards that give you new active and passive abilities. Cards are earned by completing a level with an optional objective, one that usually presses you to play in a way you wouldn't normally. Enemies also drop souls, which heal you a tiny bit, and turn you into an immortal demon briefly when you have enough. The game spans 5 acts of 4 to 6 levels each, with a boss capping each act. They vary in quality, with the first being far and away the most interesting and impressive, and the last being exceptionally creative, while the rest being pretty forgettable. It's also worth mentioning that difficulty not only changes balancing within levels, but also how the acts flow together, with the highest difficulty ending on some unique levels and a totally different finale. Painkiller hasn't aged gracefully, but it was never a graceful game, instead giving you all the blood and action you could want from a hellish shooter. And number 8 we have Police Stories, a top-down old-school shooting adventure game that puts you in the shoes of 2 cops who will do whatever it takes to ensure justice is served. This game offers both solo and couch co-op play, and includes 2 difficulty settings and 3 game modes. As you progress through the game's 18 missions, you'll need to use your partner, technical equipment, and covering fire to infiltrate gang hideouts, rescue hostages, collect evidence, arrest criminals, and save civilians. With each mission, you'll earn points that give you a level rating. While the game's concept may be straightforward, achieving victory isn't easy. You'll need to work with your partner to open doors, issue warning shots, and risk being shot at, all while using your 16 unlockable items to gain an advantage. The game's art style and audio design are simple but effective, with pixelated characters, earthy colors, and heavy, hard-hitting tones that create a sense of tension and excitement. However, the game's controls can be fiddly when playing solo, and the game can be too difficult at times. Overall, Police Stories is a challenging, addictive, and engaging game that offers plenty of replay value, and will keep you entertained for hours, especially if you play it as a co-op game. And number 9 we have Crashday Redline Edition, a racing game that offers various gameplay modes and features vehicular destruction as a core mechanic. This game offers a variety of game modes that include traditional lap races, checkpoint races, capture the flag, and bomb-based modes. The game also has a career mode that comes with a loose plot, allowing you to choose single events from any of the available options. In terms of gameplay, you'll have to select different types of vehicles depending on the race modes. For instance, traditional races benefit from speed, while bulkier vehicles are more suitable for destruction derby-style races. The game also has a wrecking match mode that allows you to murder your rivals by ramming and shooting them with missiles and machine guns. One of the best features of Crashday Redline Edition is its track editor that is easy to use, allowing you to create your own tracks in a matter of minutes. While the game's visuals are not on par with AAA racing games, the car models look great and the lighting effects are impressive. The only downside is that the environment textures could have been better. Overall, Crashday Redline Edition is a solid arcade-style racing game that offers a good variety of game modes and challenges to keep you entertained. Whether you're into traditional races or combat racing game, this game has something for everyone. And number 10 we have Race Condition, an exhilarating arcade-style racing game that offers you 21 unique low-poly layouts across 11 tracks with no track limits. Your objective in this game is to race to gain XP, level up, and unlock more tracks for longer races. Fuel becomes a factor in races, adding an extra layer of strategy to the game, where lifting and coasting at the end of straights can make a significant difference. The handling of the cars in Race Condition is a bit tricky, as they feel more like planes than traditional cars. The cars are overly sensitive, and oversteer can be a significant challenge to contend with. However, you'll get used to the handling over time, and it will eventually feel like second nature. The multiplayer mode in Race Condition is excellent, and the reverse layouts locked to certain times of day and weather formations change the experience and the grip each time. However, the game's AI can be a bit frustrating, especially with the extreme rubber banding that tends to occur. The AI tends to ram you off the track, speeds up to insane overpowering top speeds to get past you on the straights, and doesn't play by the rules. This behavior feels unfair and can be frustrating, but the problem is mitigated in multiplayer, as the AI race more in a pack. Overall, Race Condition is a well-structured and highly playable game that brings back the nostalgia of the arcade racer adrenaline rushes of the early 90s. The game's challenges and the variety of tracks make it a must-play for fans of arcade-style racing games. While the extreme rubber banding may be a bit frustrating, it does not take away from the overall enjoyment of the game. So, if you're looking for an intense racing game that'll keep you on the edge of your seat, Race Condition is the game for you. Here's a couple of extras for you, as some of you may be curious. At number 11 we have Homefront: The Revolution, an open-world FPS game. Set in an alternate future, where North Korea occupies the United States, you play as a member of the resistance in Philadelphia, fighting back against the Korean People's Army. You'll take on a series of missions that make up the core campaign and try to sway public opinion by doing things like destroying propaganda, protecting citizens, and setting up Overwatch sites for the resistance. The gunplay in Homefront is somewhere between Battlefield and Call of Duty. The KPA are tough fighters, and your vulnerability means it's best to use hit-and-run tactics. The weapon modification system is limited but neat, with changes having a noticeable impact on how each weapon performs. You can also upgrade throwable items like Molotovs and hacking grenades, and additional items can be purchased to improve your character. Although the areas within Philadelphia aren't fully open world, they are large enough to provide opportunities to take on problems in different ways. The game's performance is pretty good, and it's easy to slip around in the dark, avoiding scanners and soldiers. As you turn the people against the KPA, the areas change, and the clean streets becoming littered, blue flares springing up everywhere, and plenty of people turning against your oppressors and collaborators. The game has some flaws, such as a lack of variety in the side missions and vehicles that don't offer much use in many levels for the attention that they draw. There's even a full version of Time Splitters 2 hidden away if you're looking for additional incentive to try it out. Overall, if you're looking for a decent first-person shooter, Homefront: The Revolution is a game you might enjoy. At number 12 we have Splash Cars, an arcade game where you play as a car that paints the monochrome world back into color with your exhaust fumes before your car runs out of fuel. As you complete levels and earn coins, you can unlock new cars with better speed and fuel. The 25 levels are isometric, and you must reach a certain percentage of color threshold to unlock new cars and levels. The police cars will chase you and ram you into submission, causing damage to your car. You can use power-ups to boost, grow bigger, turn into a police car, freeze the police cars, or turn into a giant tank firing paintballs. Road sweepers and tractors roam around levels, wiping your paint away, but you can splash them with paint and they will join in on your side. The game is easy to pick up and play, with steering related to where your car is pointed. Multiplayer battles are good fun, and remind you of Splatoon and Crayola Scoot. The single player experience is enjoyable, but the multiplayer battles are where the game shines. The game is a fun time waster on your own, and a competitive battle with friends, but a few more modes would have filled out the roster. Overall, Splash Cars is a concise gaming experience that offers a great palate cleanser for a quick 10-minute daily play. And that's all for this bundle. This bundle is actually pretty amazing with some really cool driving games, and games that you don't usually see in bundles. I would highly recommend it. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.